Hundreds of millions of dollars are flooding into the crypto space right now, and whether it's through people just flat out buying Bitcoin or investing in the infrastructure of a plethora of altcoin projects, the crypto space is getting a lot of attention and a lot of money at the moment. So what I want to do here today is talk about where all this money is going, how it's being broken down, and maybe how this can help us as investors get a little bit of an edge by seeing what the big money and the big institutions are curious about accumulating in this bear market. So if you're new to the channel, welcome back. My name is Brendan, and we're glad to have you here over on the Crypto 101 channel. If you guys are new here and you like the content that we make, all that we ask is that you consider hitting that subscribe button. But let's go ahead and kick things off with the name that a lot of us are probably familiar with. So Mr. Michael Saylor, over at MicroStrategy just bought another whopping $147 million worth of Bitcoin. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what does this bring his new total up to? Because he's one of the largest Bitcoin holders in the entire world. Well, this now means that he has a whopping 158,000 Bitcoin. Again, that makes him one of the largest wallets in existence right now. So if we go down here, we can see that his average buy price on this most recent buy order of Bitcoin was around $27,000, really just barely over $27,000 per Bitcoin. And this now brings his total up to 158,245 Bitcoin. Now, I don't know about you, but I wish that I had 158,000 Bitcoin, especially at the price that it is sitting at today, let alone what it was at during the heat of the bull market. So this means that his total Bitcoin, meaning all 158,000, his average buy price for his entire Bitcoin holdings is now at $29,582 per Bitcoin, bringing the grand total of all 158K Bitcoin up to $4.68 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, again, I wish I had all those, but I guess we can't all be pickers and choosers, right? But no, this is a really cool thing to see in the space, and it goes to show that big money's still buying, and even whales like Michael Saylor are not at all discouraged where the price of Bitcoin is. On the contrary, they're actually going in here and they are buying a whole lot more. So when we're looking at these dip buys and seeing what big money's doing, we have Michael Saylor over here just straight up not investing in infrastructure, just straight up buying Bitcoin. And this is, I think, something that most people really can't be too salty about. I think a lot of people are going to see this as a good sign. Now, perhaps one of the biggest altcoin investments that we have seen in recent months over here was coming in from Blockchain Capital, because they just raised $580 million for two separate funds. This is a big one. We're going to kind of come back to this in just a moment, but I want to talk about the rest of the money that was raised in crypto as well. We also had GRVT, which now raised funds at a $39 million evaluation. They just raised $7.1 million not too long ago. And then we also had, about a month or two ago, we saw another $200.4 million in venture funding come in during the month of July. So when we see the crypto space in its entirety having all this capital poured into it, the next logical questions that we need to ask ourselves is, what specific verticals are going to be affected by this, and how can we potentially capitalize on this opportunity? Now, before we dive into that and where all this money is going, I just want to give everyone a quick little heads up that I just made a brand new video. I dropped a link to it down in the description down below. Definitely go check it out. It's going to be all about how you can maximize profits in these little micro bull runs that we have constantly happening in the world of cryptocurrency. I think you're all going to find a lot of value from it, so definitely go check that out. And now let's get back to the video here. So let's start things off with potentially the biggest of all of these funds, over with Blockchain Capital and that whopping $580 million raise that they just had. So again, this is going to be split up between two different branches, or two different funds rather. The first fund is going to be for early stage, like startups. So this can be anything that is focused on newer companies. It can be protocols in pre-seed and Series A rounds. Now, the second fund is going to be the remaining $200 million, and this is going to be an opportunity fund for later stage investments. So we have one that's targeted for early stage investments, one that's for a little bit of the later stage process. Now, something to note is that the early stage is almost double the size of the later stage. So what these big funds are really interested in here is what is going to be the next generation of crypto projects. Not necessarily what's happening right now, but like what can we build to make the next generation of crypto? And one of the points that they actually kind of target here is saying, hey, FTX left a gaping hole in the crypto space, not in every industry, but there are these little pockets and subsectors of crypto that have holes in them because of everything that transpired with Alameda, FTX, Celsius, etc. You kind of get the point. With a lot of these projects and platforms going under, there are holes that need to be filled, and they can be filled better than they were previously before. And so that's, I think, one of the areas number one to look out for over here. Now, what about Gravity? Well, Gravity is a bit of a hybrid exchange. They're essentially like a decentralized exchange that let you have your own custodialship, but they try to make it as much of a centralized exchange user interface, if that makes sense. So they kind of want this to be the technicals, or I guess like the fundamentals of a decentralized exchange when it comes to you actually owning your own crypto and security and all that. But when it comes to the operating front and how people are interacting with it, they want it to feel as if it is a centralized exchange. And so they call themselves a hybrid exchange for this reason. And they were the group that actually just raised about $7.1 million in funding here recently, which puts us at number 3. Now, what about this just over $200 million that was raised about 2 months ago now? And when it comes to this one, they are going to be targeting a lot of stuff. And we actually have an itemized list where we can see how much was deployed to each of these subsectors. But I think the two big ones to keep an eye out here is number one, like gaming and the metaverse, and pretty much the decentralized gaming and Web3 gaming side of things. And then number two, the area of zero knowledge proofs, or ZK proofs. Now, ZK proofs, for any of you that have watched our content for a while now, this has been such a hot topic in the world of cryptocurrency. This group over here, they're not alone in wanting to invest in this. We've seen a lot of money being poured into this space. We see a lot of interest kind of turning towards this space as well. Now, we've also seen a bit more attention coming to the gaming side of things. So both of these areas aren't too surprising. But what I want to do over here is actually turn people's attention to where this capital is going. Now, I was going to have to search around for a little bit of a cheat sheet, and luckily, they just go ahead and straight up give it to us over here. So what we have here is and hopefully everyone can see this all right after I zoomed in, but what we have is a date, we have the project that they invested in, the amount that was raised, the category of the crypto project, and then also the subcategory of where they lie. So let's use Radiant Capital, for example. They raised about $10 million on July 20th. They are a DeFi project that is in the specific subcategory of the lending and borrowing area of DeFi. Something like, let's go to Futureverse, for example, because they were probably the largest round that they have recorded here. They did $54 million, and they are under the Web3 category and specifically under Metaverse. And then we also have other things that's like Skyplay, which is a game, and so on and so forth. And so I wanted to kind of just flash this up on the screen so that everyone had full transparency of where all this money was going. Now, again, the two main areas that stuck out to me were ZK proofs, gaming, and I guess 3 areas because the other one was infrastructure. There seems to be a really big push on making the entire crypto space have a more solid ground, a more sound infrastructure for this next market cycle. And there's a lot of money that is going into that space as well. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on here. Now, you're probably looking at this. Maybe you recognize a few names. I know I recognize a couple of these names over here, such as like Radiant and Manta and a couple other players. But other ones are going to be new. So maybe these are projects for you yourself to go ahead and investigate. And maybe if you don't like this project, maybe you like the industry. And you can go find another project inside of this specific category or subcategory that you can see as an investing opportunity. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that across the board, the crypto space is very much still seeing a lot of activity and a lot of capital that's being raised over here. And it's something to keep an eye on, because when we want to know how to capitalize and like how to kind of really take part in these bull runs to the highest extent, we need to know what big money and what smart money is doing And this is just one of the ways that we can get a little bit of insight into this. So we can see like where their capital is deployed, what they're investing in, what categories these are, or in the case of Michael Saylor, when they're buying Bitcoin. So it's not a matter of what are they investing in, it's a matter of when they are investing for something as simple as Bitcoin. So that's going to round us up for this video, everyone. I appreciate all of you tuning in. Just one more reminder here, we have that link, that brand new video that I just made for all of you in the description down below. So if you want to go check that out about how to maximize profits inside of these crypto markets, then definitely go check out that video. I think you're going to find it useful. But until then, everyone, we got a lot of content coming your way. So stay tuned for a whole lot more. And if you didn't hit that subscribe button, make sure to smash it now. This is just your friendly reminder, and we're going to see all of you in the next video.